All right, folks, welcome to Kaiser's Castle. Today, we're going to talk about military traditions, stuff like that. But I got to do a little housekeeping before then. I have a special guest. He's an awesome guy. I will bring him on after my introduction. The housekeeping I have to do is a brother of mine told me I forgot to share about simunitions. Simunitions is nothing more than a blank firing weapon. It has propellant, but instead of a bullet, something that's it's going to hit the person, but it's not going to pierce them, is a marking. It's like paintball, but it's fired out of a firearm. Very light primer. You're going to get stung using it, but there's protective gear you wear, eyewear, headwear, and like an apron, some little leggings that you can get. But it's a training munitions. It's toxic free. The dye they use in it isn't even permanently staining. And so that ends everything about 5.56 by 45 types of ammo. And it was just something that slipped my mind that I didn't cover. And of course, if I forget something or somebody has a question and they ask me, why didn't you do this? I'll bring it to you. So, with that being said, thank you for indulging me on that. Today, I have an outstanding man, and I'm going to give him a brief introduction so you understand how outstanding he is. You've heard me and Curtis talk about him as outstanding, and we used to call ourselves the real Expendables before the Expendables, and there's a reason for that. But I'm going to introduce you right now to Cutsy. And Cutsy is a former member of the British Forces. He's a contractor. He's busy right now doing something. And he said he had enough time to give me a couple minutes to talk about traditions. And just like in the video that I shared, there will be a link in the description. And it is the former Spanish Legionnaires. They used to be called the Spanish Foreign Legionnaires back in the day when Hemingway served with them under Franco. So, in the other forces. So, this is what it is, but now it's all made up pretty much mostly of Spaniards. And they serve with distinction, and the importance of the tradition that they do is the wedding after death. And that's basically what the name of the title will be, the title of their song that they sang. It's open source, and I'll not tell you how I got the video, but it's on YouTube. I'll tell you that. But anyways, I won't tell you anything more than that. But it is a moving thing when you see these dudes doing what they do. And you also see that with the French Foreign Legion. You'll see that when they decorate for Christmas. There was always a Catholic tent. Why I may not be a Catholic, I can respect traditions. And with all that being said, are you there, Cutsy?
Yeah, mate, I'm here.
Outstanding, brother. Why don't you introduce anything more than you want to? It's up to you to let people know who you are and how we met. And, well, we both know how we met in Turkey, but, we'll talk about that a little bit maybe.
Yeah, we should keep some things quiet.
Yeah, nobody needs to know everything. But anyways,
Yeah,
so we had a good time. We went probably to the worst company, and I never mentioned the company's name, even with Curtis. We did not talk about specifics of the company or any of that. It was the biggest shite company, and yet we had the best people there, and we got the job done, didn't we, brother?
yeah, we did. We had a difficult job to do, from training to running a large operation,
Yeah, it was.
protecting U.S. personnel.
Yep, yep.
But the problem was the backup of the company, which shan't be named, wasn't the best.
No, it wasn't. The interesting part is that we prevailed over it. I mean, we all ended up leaving fairly quickly. within a few months, but we stood it up. We got it going so that lesser men could keep it going. I'll never forget how goofy it got. And you remember that, man. Do you remember that one cat that came in? He had like a bush hat, a slouch hat that buttoned on one side and like American woodland camouflage and walking around in shorts, had these knee socks on and wearing Merrills. And he's like, I'm a mercenary. And I think, a matter of fact, I think you were with me when we both were laughing our dicks off over him. And I went up to see, hey, what's this guy about? And he goes, well, since I'm a mercenary, I got to stand out. And I'm like, dude, you're doing static security.
Yeah.
Remember that fucking tosser?
Yeah, I remember him. He was there was a few strange ones like that though.
Oh, I know. Oh, yeah.
I mean, I still remember that guy that used to run around the perimeter of the palace.
Oh, yeah.
Shorts on, white socks, no top on.
Yeah,
he looked like Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
Running around.
Yeah, it was fucking shit. I can't think of I'm not gonna out him anyways. But yeah, I remember that dude. He would run around the Perfume Palace. Am I correct?
Yeah, about 12 o'clock in the afternoon, the hottest time of the year, time of the day. And then we managed to meet up with him. Do you remember meeting up with him?
Mm-hmm.
It's Slayer.
Yeah.
We met up with him at Slayer and we found out he was an XSF guy.
Yeah, I do remember him, but still, it was
really good dude.
He was a good dude, but I mean, in some ways, he was like, "Come on, dude, you don't have to do that." You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like he was doing it for acclimatization. I believe he was there longer than we were. He was a holdover, a hip, higher in place from EODT, right?
Right, he was on that. Do you remember the base that was next to EODT? Do you remember the zoo?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the SF camp that was next to the zoo?
Oh, yeah.
I can't think of its name.
It was down there by the CIA complex. We both know where it was at the ECP area. Yeah.
Well, he used to run down there.
Yeah.
We used to go down there and use the ranges and qualify the guys down there.
Well, me and Curtis were talking, and he said he remembered it. Do you remember? I got to ask you this because the memory is burned so deeply in my mind. And do you remember it was like 2 stories? They had these buildings built in 2 stories. There was only like 4 or 5 of them, and they were all attached, basically. And it was where you would buy like items. It was off base, but we used to go out there on our time off every once in a while to buy certain things like kit. And then they had that one ass place. I still got the bag from it. The Paris company or some shit like that. Parisian, I think it was called. Where they
That was en route to Liberty.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There was a 511 shop there. I remember that.
Yeah.
Because I bought my first watch from there.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. I still wear I still wear that same Timex Army watch I got in 1986 from Fort McClellan. It still runs, brother. Everybody be like, where they're looking at me because I'd been in the game for a while. They was like, "Where's your Rolex? Where's your G code?" And I'm like, or not G code. It starts with a G. I can't remember the name. I've never had to buy another watch. I do have.
I'm still the same. I don't go around with the. I just don't go around with Gucci kit on.
Yeah, me neither.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
It's not. You just dress normally and you fit in better. That's the whole thing. But going back,
we had a good crew there.
Oh, we had the best.
Guys. We all got on really well. We worked well together.
Yep.
We all knew it. Didn't matter what background we came from, whether Brit Mill, US Mill, Canadians. We all got on really well together.
South Africans, all of us.
We made difficult situations work.
Yeah.
That was the best thing.
That was the best thing.
I mean, we all got on. We met up together on the night time. We worked during the day. We got the job done during the day. But we all met up on a night time. We had a good crack. We cracked on about things. We trained together, and it was a good time.
Well, remember, here's one of the funny parts that you'll remember. We were talking about the first days when we got there. We had that guy who said he was a ranger or whatever. We still don't know really the bona fides of him, but we were sitting on hot rocks. Everybody was hung over, and we're there for a couple days, man. And finally, Richie, just using Richie to keep it, light. Finally, the guy came out. I believe me and Curtis might have lightly covered this, and they didn't even have housing for us. You remember, we're sitting out there on them rocks day and night. They put us in that little weird thing that we were staying in. There was nothing there.
But it stuck us in these tents.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah. Open tents, no sides.
Open tents, no AC.
Yep.
No AC units, open tents. Wow, the good old days.
Oh, that was fun. I mean, it built strong, but on like the third day, he comes out. I know you guys are getting tired of this, but blah, 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 blah. Any of you think you can do better? And Richie goes, I fucking well can, mate. And and the guy's like, get in here. And we're like, well, he's going home. Anyways, remember Richie ended up running that shit.
Yeah. You ended up being a top bod.
Yeah.
You remember?
Oh, that was great, man. That was funny.
I remember I turned around to you and said, because this guy had a cap on with Echo 6 on the back of it.
Yep.
He had a cap on with Echo 6 on the back. I went, what the hell is Echo 6?
Right.
And you went, Mal, he's an E6.
Yeah.
I went, what the hell is an E6? He's a sergeant.
Yeah.
I went, all right. So why's he got in his cap?
Right.
He says, I don't know. He says, he's just going on there. He says, have he got his rank or something?
Right. He was trying to run it like it was a military operation when that's not how you run that shit. You know how it runs. I mean,
yes, here's the thing. Like, I mean, we had a good bunch of guys, but we had some guys who were like, they still thought they were in the military. That was the bad thing.
And we even had a few Walter Middies, if you remember right. So.
Oh yeah.
That was interesting when we discovered that shit.
No, with no disrespect to your unit, the Marine Corps.
Right.
Yeah. I remember that guy. I think you were there when that guy came on and said he was a Marine Scout sniper.
Yeah, liar boy. Yeah.
He wanted to go on RRT.
Right.
With Richie and them, and Curtis.
Mm-hmm.
And he couldn't shoot 25 meters with an M4.
Yeah. We sussed him out pretty quick, didn't we?
And I said to you, is he Marine? He says he's a Marine Scout sniper, yet he can't qualify at 25 meters.
Right. Couldn't set his dope.
And you said, let me see him. And you come back to me and said, Mal, he's not what he says he is. He isn't nowhere. Yeah. I went, well, they've got him down for RRT, so I don't know what to do with him. And you went and had a word with somebody about him.
Yep. He left.
Said, yeah, I think he did, yeah. He did leave.
He left the next day.
I think he was due to go on Richie's team.
Mm-hmm.
From what I was thinking, he was going to go on Richie's team or one of the other teams. Yeah. Another Marine, I think the US Marine guy that was running the other team with Richie.
Yep, I remember him. And then you remember the SEAL we had, who was an awesome dude.
He was going with the SEAL guy. That was it. He was going on the SEAL team, the SEAL team guy.
Yeah, which Richie was with, right?
Yeah, you went and spoke with him and said, this guy can't shoot one.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did. I was like, brah, that's the whole thing. It's not handled by military rank or even experience. Well, let me rephrase that. Tier 1 dudes have the experience, but they always are normally open on contracting to listen to people. And when I went up and talked to him, I'm like, brah, let me tell you something. He's like, what's up, man? He was from California, if you remember. He had that, yeah man, kind of shit. And I was like, brah, let me tell you something. I said, dude can't fucking put basic dope in his weapon, and he's lied. he said he was a SEAL, or not a SEAL, a Marine Scout sniper. And I said, that doesn't make sense. And he's missing the target. I remember his target, dude. He was all around everything but the black. And a lot of miss hits. And I'm like, nah, he's not even a designated marksman with skill set. And he's like, really? And I said, yeah. And I think he might have taken him out by himself to the range. You remember we had that one range. Well, we'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, he took him out there, I believe. And, he fell then too. And yeah, he was on the next jet burning. He was getting some Jet A1 flying him the fuck out of the country.
But he was good. I think he was going to take him to Dublin, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't think they put him to Dublin. I think they bounced him.
He was going to take him. He was going to take him to Dublin to shoot.
Oh yeah. That's where he took him. Yeah.
And I think he flew him out.
Because we had that one incident on the range. I think you're right. The reason why I say that is we had that one incident. I can't remember dude's name, and I don't want it broadcast because I ended up working with him later, and he was a good dude. He just got caught up in it. But they went to a range. They took bulletproof glass, some other things to see what would penetrate what. And I believe they fired a Dishka into some stuff, and the Air Force actually was the ones who went stupid over it.
Yeah, what they actually did was they took a confiscated weapon.
Yeah. Yep.
They took photographs of it.
But honestly, in my opinion, I mean, the guy was always honest with me. I guess he told some fibs to some of the Brits, some lies, I guess. But I will never. He told me the truth, and I'm not getting into his personal shit because he was honest. I worked with him on another gig, and they were talking shit about him, and I was like, "Look, guys," I said, "he may have lied to certain people, but I'll tell you this." He did not lie to me. He told me he was desperate for money, sold a medal, and said that he earned it lying to try to get a higher price. And he told me that. And I was like, okay, well, you better let everybody know that you did that or this is going to turn bad. And it did turn bad on him, which was unfortunate. Both times it turned bad on him. And then later on he did something else that was a different system altogether. You can talk to Curtis and find out about that. I'm not going to go into details, but, things happen, man. I mean, but I didn't see him as a liar because first thing he did when he introduced me is he goes, "You're going to hear this." And he goes, "This is what happened." And I said, "Well, you need to tell the Brits because they're going to fucking shit mouth you." And that's exactly what happened with him. But that didn't get him from the job we were on. The job we were on, he just happened to be there when they pulled the Dishka out and started shooting at the fucking... I think they were on only a pistol course. And they put that bulletproof glass and some selected armor doors and shit to see the penetration power, which actually they filmed and it was actually a good training aid so people would know what the armor will protect you against. But... I guess, he's shitting somebody's salad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he did.
But here's the only
thing that got me was when he, took to his weapon handling and everything else, done everything with him and all. He was a decent enough guy. And then he said he was a Marine Scout sniper. I said, okay, well, you should be used to this weapon system. This weapon system should be second nature to you.
Right.
Explained the targetry to him, told him what was going on. And I gave him 3 chances.
No, you did.
The second chance, I come to speak to you about it. I said, This guy's the Marine Scout sniper, but he can't shoot for shit. Is he just having a bad day or what? And
remember, I said, let me look at his target. And there were mishits and hardly anything in the black. I think there was maybe 3 or 4 hits from 25 meters. And I'm like, he can't set basic dope on his rifle. So he's not legit. Something's wrong with him. And
Yeah.
at that point, I'm like, no matter where you put him, I don't care if you put him even in a tower instructing people, he becomes a hazard. You know, he's lying, he's telling non-truths, and I mean, we all, when we're joking around together, we're all elaborate or whatever, but we all know we're joking. But when
Yeah.
you take it to where you're putting it on your CV, that takes it to a different level.
Yeah.
You know, and that was the big point that I had with him. You know.
Yeah, I just thought he was just having a bad day. But after the second time, then I come and spoke to you and said, "Shuff, can you have a look at this guy? You
Yep.
know, he says he's a Marine Scout sniper, but he can't shoot for shit.
Right.
And maybe it's my word of command where I'm giving him or whatever, but you need to have a look at him."
Well, that's
And
what.
you come back to me and said, "Mal, I'll deal with it." And I said, "Okay, mate, you deal with it." And you know, it went from there.
Yeah, it did go from there. But that's the importance of military tradition. That's
Yeah.
what this whole show is about: military tradition, trust, loyalty, honor. Um, that's where I try to keep my show. I mean, I sometimes delve into politics. I'm not going to do it with you. Trust me, brother. There's a lot we could delve into. We'll do it another time if you want to. But the different traditions, and they're different globally. Just like that's why I put the Spanish Foreign Legion. I will talk about the French Foreign Legion when they do their Christmas decoration day in their barracks, which is a tradition of theirs. Like I said, predominantly Catholic. I'm not Catholic. I don't know if you are or not. It matters not to me about religion. But the point
Yeah,
is,
the thing with tradition in the military, I mean, it stems back from time immemorial for us.
yes,
The U.S. Marine Corps have tradition. You know, the French Foreign Legion have their traditions. The Spanish have theirs. The Guards, my unit, uh, we did back to 1642.
right,
All the regiments in the British Army have battle honours, which the US have as well. The US military have battle honours. We all have our own traditions. So everything on a uniform means something. You know, every part of a
yep,
uniform means something. Whether it be the lanyard that you wear, whether it be the way you lace your boots, everything means something in the military tradition.
that's so
Like
true.
in the regimental marches, like you heard the regimental march of the Spanish there, the Spanish song.
Right,
The French have theirs.
yep,
The French Foreign Legion have their song.
La Boudin, the
You have
Brotherhood. Yeah,
the Marine Corps have theirs.
yep,
You know, the airborne units, the 101st and the 82nd have their songs.
yes,
We have regimental bands in the army, the British Army. We have regimental bands.
right,
We have a quick march and a slow march, which we have songs like from battle honours like Waterloo, Talavera,
right.
Salamanca. You know, we have a lot of tradition in the British Armed Forces, all relating to what that means to your regiment specifically.
Oh shit! Even during the American Revolution, you guys had your own songs for that.
Yeah,
I mean, this is a fact, but it's a funny joke. I have several British folks that are normally on my podcast, and they're great guys, and all of us know each other, and we respect each other because we respect each other's heritage, our traditions, and that's something that I think that's what blends so well with all of us is that the brotherhood, and I do call what we do now a brotherhood. I mean, I could guarantee you, my son who's currently serving in the Marine Corps, let's say something happens wherever he's at. All it takes is a phone call. And
yeah,
and our brothers would be like, okay, well, let's get together somewhere close to wherever he's at. And guess what? He's coming home. We know this, and it would happen with any of your children. And
we've always done that. We'll always have each other's back.
exactly. And it's a brotherhood that can't be bought. It can't be, it's something you earn by not reputation, by actually physically working with another man and seeing their weaknesses, their strengths, and a mutual respect.
Yeah,
And
exactly. It's
yeah,
exactly what it is, my friend.
and it's honor. And it's honor that you can't, when I talk about honor, a lot of people think it's nebulous. It's just this thing that even non-combatants can have some honor. Nah, honor is something that is only bestowed upon one by another man. And it needs to be done. Same with brotherhood. I mean, brothers, I've met brothers that hate each other, but not in the brotherhood of war. It's a different thing. You know, how many times did you guys, I know, look at us Americans with Screwface, like, what's this dude about? Including me, which is justified. And then all of a sudden, it's through action that it gets bound. It's honor bound.
Well, it's like uh, we call it the spirit of core,
Yeah, exactly.
the
Spirit of the
core spirit,
warrior.
the core spirit.
Yep.
It's we have it in leaps and bounds because of what we've done in the past
Exactly.
and the friendships that we've gained since then. I have great respect for the U.S. military
Yeah,
because I've worked with them,
I know.
and but I've been on exercises with other regiments, other units from around the world, and I was lucky enough. I mean, you remember when the Berlin Wall was,
Yeah, I
and
do.
we used to go across into East Berlin.
Yeah,
We went to an East German army camp
right.
for something to eat and drink,
Yeah,
and it's a it's a it's a sobering thought when you get across the other side and you see how they live and what they do and all that, and
and
then you start eating and you start drinking together,
yep,
and through your interpreters you start speaking with each other,
yep.
and you realise there ain't a lot of difference between us and them.
Not at all. Not a difference at all. And that's something I've told people. Look, you know this. I told you this. I know back then in Iraq when I first went there in '05. You know the one guy who they gave me, Lieutenant Aguil. I love this guy to this day, and I can actually take anybody I want into Wasset Province. It doesn't matter if it's at Diwania or Al Qut. And I'm not talking this shit to be whatever, but I proved my mettle to him. You know, I had a great soldier, a long story, I'm not getting into it. But I also had this lieutenant, and he was an artilleryman. And there was an issue that happened that we're not going to talk about, but I know you know about it. And when he said that and where he was at, I was like, oh, okay, cool. And I'm thinking about a bro of mine who was lost during the first Gulf War. And so we both looked at each other with suspicion. And yet became he became a brother. And Adnan Hyder did. I mean, there's a lot of men that earned it. It's earned. It's not given, man. And that's something I think the youth of today don't understand how honor's earned. They think it's, oh man, we're brothers, we're cool, we're great. And yet these same dudes, if you fall asleep drunk, are going to draw dicks on your face, put it on the internet, you know, or even worse, who knows what they'll do. And then they'll say, oh, it was good fun, it was a joke. No, it's not a joke. You violated somebody's sacred space. They fell asleep, leave them the fuck alone. Right?
It's like do you remember when you'd done a few tours and then you get the new guy coming in,
Right.
basic training,
Right. Mentoring.
and and he's all excited. You know,
Yep.
he can't wait to get out and do the job, and get out and deal with these people and deal with get into battle and stuff like that. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that when I was young. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember seeing the young guys after you were the experienced one?
Yeah.
When they come out and you saw them coming out and they were excited about going out in the field and doing stuff and getting this done and can't wait to get into battle and in a firefight and stuff.
Yep.
Do you remember the faces after the first firefight when they come in?
Oh, and the shit in their pants and the little urine in their front area, the wetness. Yeah, I remember it.
Do you remember the change in the same guy who came out the same guy who was 18 year old coming into battle for the first time?
Right.
Remember the look on his face 12 months later when he left and went back to the States?
Almost skeletal. Yeah.
Different guy.
Different guy altogether.
Next time, he doesn't want to go into battle.
No.
He'll go and do the job, but he'll face it with a different outlook.
Yes. Exactly.
That's exactly the same look as we've got. The guys you're talking about, like Richie, myself, Curtis, myself, we all look at battle. We all look at fighting in a different outlook.
Why fight and why have to use a firearm when you can use your mind?
Yep.
It was about building bridges, not burning them.
No, exactly.
And low profile. Here's the thing I loved about the Brits. You guys, ever since I've worked with you, since the first Gulf War, everybody wants to run as low profile as they can. And in 2005, with the one unit I was with, as a contractor, we decided, fuck it, we're getting hit all the time in these hard cars. So what did we do? We bought an Iraqi taxi. We bought a grab van, a snatch van, tinted out windows, and then we bought a fucking Hilux, and we bought it on the economy, and they were all beat up, bumped up, drumped up. We may have put some armor into it. I'm not going to get into specifics on what we did to these vehicles. But the point was, you could see, and you know this as well as I do, in Iraq, they don't have poker faces. There'll be everybody on the ground giving you hard looks, or there will be nobody on the ground. Yeah. And if there's nobody, shit's on. But how many times there's nobody there, you see the guy with the cell phone ready to do something, and all of a sudden you roll by looking like that, and they're like, okay, this is not Americans. And then by the time they see you, and you're in soft skins, quote-unquote soft skins, if they were to pop something, you're already by them by the time they realize.
Well, I used to do a strange thing, Shuff, right? In 2003 and 4, I used to drive about in an open-top Land Rover.
Right.
And for some strange reason, I had the fear of getting my balls blown off.
Right.
So I used to stick body armor plates underneath my seat.
And sandbags.
Yeah, and I don't know why.
I do.
I never figured out how the hell, thinking back now, I'm thinking, how the hell was that ever going to protect me from anything? I was in an open-top Land Rover.
It'd protect you from a fucking mine. I'll tell you how it will. Time distance shielding, brother. You were adding shielding to if that mine detonated under your vehicle in an open top Land Rover. You're not going to have TBI, probably. You might be dead depending on the type of mine. But the point is, you're not going to, you might bounce out of the car, but you're not, how do I put it? You're belted. You're not going to have a lot of the stresses that an enclosed vehicle will have, and your balls will remain intact. So you're.
That's what. Don't know why I was protecting them so much.
Well, you got kids. That's why. We both know the joy of children. So yeah.
I put bloody body armor plates under my seat, not thinking that if I God forbid I ever hit a mine, I'd lose my legs anyway.
Right.
Because there was no protection in an open top Land Rover.
Right.
Or, at the time we were getting shot at from the rooftops.
Right.
Which meant probably get, they were coming down from the roof anyway.
Right.
But we're driving down in open top Land Rovers.
Right.
Thinking nothing of it. And then the atmospheric sort of changed all of a sudden in around about end of 2004, 2005. Everything sort of changed.
Yep.
Whether it was the British Army outlook of, well, hold on, we need to start getting armoured vehicles here.
Right. No, I totally get it.
Yeah, before we were just driving about an open top land. We were driving down to Kuwait.
Yep.
In open top Land Rovers.
Yep.
And there was, you weren't thinking about IDs. You weren't thinking. You got the one every now and again. You got the odd fuel tax.
Right.
You weren't thinking about driving armoured Land Rovers and driving about Warriors, which is what we did in the end.
Yeah.
We were thinking about stuff like that then.
Right.
And that was straight after the end of the war.
Right.
It was like, yep, it's all safe now. We'll just drive around in open top Land Rovers and wave at people.
Yep. Hey, but that's stupidity of youth.
Yeah, but, it was what our commanders wanted.
Yeah, I know. It was to put yourself out there to the people. That was the problem with Iraq 2.0. And the problem was when we brought on the general that became, why am I mind dumping his name right now?
ODM?
No, it was the idiot who first came over there. He was a Marine Corps general too, by the way. And he believed in castle. That's why the T-walls went up. And that's why the Iraqi propaganda in 05 and 06 was working so well, because the Iraqi people weren't meeting us. And it was like, well, we don't want anybody dead, but you might have more dead in the short term. Paul Bremer, that was his name, General Bremer. You might have more dead in the beginning, but once people got to meet Americans, I mean, how many times I was asked by Iraqis I was training, how many girlfriends you have? I'm like, I have one wife, man. Well, we have 5 wives or whatever, 3 wives, 2 wives. And I'd be like, yeah, well, I God bless you, because I don't know how you handle more than one, and the drama and stuff. And they'd be like, yeah, you got a point.
Yeah,
and,
sweet headache.
Yeah, but they thought we were all. They looked at Baywatch as pornography, and that was something that was just not being even thought of during that time.
No, I mean, you can see the changes in Iraq slowly.
Yeah.
I mean, you go to places now where it used to be just in one part at one time in Erbil.
Right.
Where it was more of a westernized type of culture.
Right.
In Kurdistan.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's sort of, you see the younger generation now want to wear jeans and crop tops and shirts and, the females obviously,
Right.
And wear makeup. They don't want to wear burgers anymore. They don't want to do this. And the older generation's sort of accepting it.
Yeah, and well, not even that.
They want a more Western type of culture.
And then
it's only the. I mean, they say you didn't want to get into the politics side, but the Iranian influence over here was bad.
Oh, I know. Well, it was bad when I was there, but see, in Al Qud, if you look at it, we were 40 clicks from the Iranian border. That's all I can say on this, okay? Camp Delta. And one of the largest air bases in Iraq, okay? And we had everybody there. I mean, all the coalition. From Ukrainians, Uzbekis, but the Americans never legitimized that air base, but it was still functional. And so we had Russians, isn't this funny? Russians and Ukrainians flying stuff into us, and the Americans were basically hands off. That's why when they called it the Coalition of the Willing, I used to call it the Coalition of the Billing because of RYP, Robert Young Pelton's talking about it. I agreed with him. You know, I started to wake up at that point, and they were billing us for what they were giving us, and what they were giving us was functional and good, but it was not the Western standards, but it was good for Iraqi standards. It actually brought that area would probably be classified from third world to second world. It was never first world, even in their cities. And just because of the persecution of the Shia.
Yeah.
But once you broke that dynamic with those folks, they were the most loyal motherfuckers out there. And without them, we wouldn't have been able to break the early FP bullshit that was happening in our area from the Iranians, you know, the Quds Force. And that's why I know about the Quds Force so deeply, is because that's who was doing it. And it's the same general that exists now controlling them. I've made videos on him, talked about him. He was a guy I studied. I wanted to know about him to defeat him. And we did. All of us did. In different ways and manners. I was just a functionary. I wasn't the guy who did that. I'm just saying. I still have a price on my head from that time from the Iranians, but fuck them, right? My point being, more interesting point, is that we all get together, and whenever we get together, it's success. There is no failure. We just don't accept it. And that's the thing that I think people aren't getting on how this shit actually rolls. It doesn't roll the way, it's not every plan fails, and it's what you do after it fails that will make the change and the difference in that situation.
If you think about, like, myself, you, Curtis, Richie, and probably
David.
a lot of others on your podcast, David, and all them.
Yeah.
There's a few hundred years of experience amongst us lot.
Oh, I know.
In various environments, from jungle to desert to Arctic.
Yeah.
You know? And we have a good situation, a good relationship together. We talk things out.
Right.
During the planning phase. During the planning phase of anything, we can talk it through and then come up with a solution before we start.
It's almost like that book it was during the Boer War. A guy wrote a book, and I tell everybody I meet, I tell them to read it. And it was about a period of 7 days. The guy had 7 dreams. And it was showing his weaknesses of his defense. And it was the book's title, it is a small book, it's very fast read. The Defense of Duffer's Drift. And it's an Englishman talking about fighting the Boers during the war.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much how planning should be. You look at the worst case, you analyze it with TDS, time distance shielding, you understand everything that could happen, and if you don't understand it, input from others should always be welcome. And that's something nobody wants to talk about.
Well, it's something that we have in spades.
Right.
You know, when we, like you say, we go back to when we first came there to that company, and there was no planning. There was nothing in place for what we could see anyway. You know, it seemed to be organized chaos. And then we sat down, discussed what was going to happen, and then made it work.
Indeed. Indeed and in fact.
But then I mean, every day we sat down, we had a green bean, we had basically a planning meeting from what happened that day to how we could improve on it.
Indeed.
You know, it works better that way.
It does. It does.
The hierarchy, or if you like, if you look at the military structure, the generals and all that would say to the colonels, right, this needs to be done. And then they'd pass it down to us, but not give us any clear direction of how they want it done.
Right.
And then we would go and say, right, all right. We would just sit around the table with a green bean and say, all right, how are we going to make this happen? We have this. Yeah.
We'd make it happen functionally.
Yeah, and we got it done in a very surprisingly short space of time. Considering there was over 3,000.
Yeah, we did it. We did it, and what was it? The amount of people we had was probably less than 100 that were clicked on, and we did it with our Ugandans, with our Iraqis, within 4 months, and that's kind of amazing.
Yeah,
we stood that thing up from nothing because remember EODT, there was very few hips they did, the hire and place it people from EODT. And we stood that motherfucker up. It was strong. We got them qualled. We complied with everything. And look at what they did. Anyways, I'm not getting into the minutia. They brought a lot of skilled dudes in, and that's why if you want something done, you deal with dudes that have done it. And that's why I have a good name. That's why you have a good name. That's why Meadsy has a good name. That's why fucking David has his name. And Richie has a great name, an awesome name. That's why we have this. And so does John, our Canadian brother, who I want to have on too. I want to have all of you guys on because everybody's perspectives lend so much. I was joking around about the day, I think it was our first day going to lunch together from that rock field. I've mentioned this numerous times, and you'll remember it. So I want your take on it. But I remember how everybody looked at me. I had a picture of my wife, my son, my coon dog, and I'm showing everybody it. And they're like, everybody looked at me. I said, yeah, it's my coon dog. And they're like, huh? What? And they're looking at David like, oh shit, is this going to happen? They thought me and David would be fighting. And I was like, no, it's a raccoon dog. What the fuck are you trying to say? It's a raccoon dog. I hunt raccoons. By the way, that dog's dead now. Spot is dead. And he died when my son was in boot camp. It was a horrible day. I'm not getting into it, but I
know how much you thought about that dog, man.
Oh, I loved him. Anyway, so but it was just so funny that they were like, you'd go to jail in England if you said that. And I was like, it's a raccoon dog. It's a coon dog. That's what we call them. And it's just the little, I don't know what to say, the minutia that all of our nations need to get over, because honestly, we have in Iran, Iraq, all over the Near East where they're trying to get rid of the burqa, and yet our own people are allowing the burqa to flourish in the West. And that's concerning to me. I mean, honestly. Your thoughts?
I mean, the one thing that we have, apart from the comradeship and everything else, is there's no racism in our units.
Never.
You know, the way you joke with each other is, if you've done it in civilian life, people would take offense to it.
Right.
You know? If you call each other worse than anything, but it's a joke. You joke with each other.
Well,
You know,
shit. I used to call myself the dumbass hillbilly, and I'd also call myself the half spaghetti nigger and kraut. And that's a fact. I said that because I'm in America. Italians were called that, and I'm half Sicilian, and I'm half German. I you know, nobody can. Here's the way I looked at it, and a bastard, by the way, and you knew that. Here's the point: if you know who you are, nothing anybody says to you is going to offend you. That's how I was brought up in the '80s in America.
do you remember Luigi?
Yeah,
Luigi Plurd?
Luigi was awesome, dude. I fucking got pictures of him somewhere.
We were like, Luigi, where you from? He went, what do you mean? I'm from California or something like that.
Yes, he was. Yep.
He said, what do you mean? I said, well, I'm just asking where you're from. Because you've got an Italian name.
Right.
And then he went, it's Swiss. I went, what? Luigi's not Swiss.
Right.
She says, no, my second name's Swiss. I went, all right. So you're Swiss Italian? No, I'm American Italian. I'm American Swedish.
Yeah.
Well, where's Luigi coming? And he went, my mum likes Italians.
Right. Same thing with my mom, I guess. It's beautiful, dude. That's the whole point. It was always jokes. It was always the camaraderie, man. I tell anybody who wants to get into the actual game, not these people that think they're going to be a contractor and work for companies like that one company we worked for. That's not that. That is contracting, but you want to do more with it. You want to be able to run your own. Look, I've been a program. You know this about me. I've been a program manager, project manager. I've went out there and I've been a 2IC. I've been a TL. I've done these things. And the point is, that's the only way you're going to grow is test yourself. And this is about the positivity for the youth to realize, suffer through your military time, get as much knowledge as you can while you do that, and then be better than you are. Because honestly, you knew this back in the day. I'm from a fucking trailer park. I never dreamed I'd own my own home. Never dreamed I'd have a wife now going 26 years strong. Or have an adult son. Never dreamed it. Didn't see it coming.
Yeah, I've had an amazing turn of events in my life with Alex and Maddie and been lucky with the jobs I've had. You know, it's been a good. I still miss the old times. You know, I don't think I've ever got the camaraderie like I did with, you know, like yourself and the guys.
Right.
Since then.
Well, we had opportunities, but, you know, and that's another part of the game. We've had opportunities, but they always, you know, somebody underbids. These things happen. I mean,
I did when I left there and I went there. I ended up at Shield.
Yeah. You had good shit there.
With a company.
Yeah.
You know, I went to Shield with the company, and I met a good bunch of guys there, very experienced operators.
A lot of us
with Gemma Odiemo and Gemma Lawson.
Yeah, yes, and a lot of us went to Armor Group for a minute. I mean, we all went places, but the point was we were, you know, I guess here's the point. I guess to it, recognize when you have the sweetness, and capitalize on it. Make sure that you keep those same people with you no matter where you go, because in the end, you've seen it. It's been a misfit on a lot of jobs. I've seen it. It's been a misfit on a lot of jobs. I know David's seen it. I know Meadsy's seen it. I guarantee you everybody else on that job. I don't even know if Luigi's still in the game. He was on my page for a long time, but he hasn't been on. Huh?
Last I heard, he was a paramedic fireman.
Yes, that was the last time I heard about him, too. That was fucking... Dude, you want to feel old now? That was 10 years ago.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah. So, anyways, I'm going to do the outro. This is a to-be-continued conversation. Now you guys...
The thing with us, Shuff, is we might not be able to run very fast anymore. And we might not be able to cover long distances anymore on foot. What we lack in fitness, we make up for in intelligence.
There you go. That's a fact. And that's the whole point of this. This is a conversation to be continued. If you knew where this man is at and where things are going, you would see that there's some important stuff afoot. I love this guy like I love Meadsy, like I love everybody that we've been speaking of. We joke around with each other. We'll bust each other's balls. But in the end, we're all tight. With that being said, please mute yourself, brother. And while you do that, I'll just make sure you're muted. Just say something. And I should not hear it, and I'm not hearing it. Good. I'm going to play my outro was Opie and Anthony's intro from the 90s. And folks, you are going to laugh your ass off on this and just supplement the words instead of Opie and Anthony to Kaiser's Castle. And honestly, I thank you for sitting on my big orange couch, drinking your soda, your coffee, your tea, your adult libation, while you listen to myself and Cutsy tell you some facts and some truth. With that being said, drawbridge will close when everybody leaves. Shuff out.
New York City, 6 a.m. An out-of-control satellite radio show is being broadcasted to millions of Americans.
Here we go. Here's the bit.
At the controls, Greg Hughes, a father.
I would love to say we have the best job in America.
Anthony Cumia, an alcoholic.
It could be the best thing ever.
And Jim Norton, a comedian.
Out loud laughs.
How do we explain the show? We should start there.
Oh, here it is.
The three men make up the Opie and Anthony Show, a popular radio program known for its cringe style of entertainment and having very few limits.
Oh, shit. This is a freak show. Why would anybody want to come on this show as a guest?
Under the right circumstances, something weird could happen.
I don't give a fuck.
Laugh out loud funny. Which I love. That's what I love.
In the past, they have been accused of multiple FCC violations, and they've even gotten their show suspended from satellite radio.
When you listen to our show, you know what you get. You know what we are.
Everything has to do with cock or balls. You know, the jokes all end up talking about cock and balls. You're a waste of life.
Fucking listeners, go fucking die. Excuse me.
Everything you are about to hear is real. Real people, real excitement.
Wow.
Get ready to experience the thrill of a lifetime. This is the Opie and Anthony Show.
How the hell do we follow that? Holy crap. Who got Stacy Keach to do that? That's awesome.
I want to listen to that show.
Yeah, exactly.
That show sounds awesome. Where is it?
Let's get the hell out of here so we can listen to those guys.
I know.
Because the mediocrity about to be delivered is not going to...
Can't live up to the intro.
No.
That's bad.
I think we finally made it. Stacy Keach doing the intro to the radio show? That's not bad.